Alright, it's time to review the DC animated movie, The Killing Joke, or as its title should have been, The Killing Joke and also a Batgirl story. Because that's what this is. It's lazy time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. Talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch Hello everybody, I'm LazyDude99 and welcome to another LazyDude review. So, when I heard that they were doing The Killing Joke as their next, DC animated feature, I was psyched. I'm like, yes! The Killing Joke, one of the best stories that they could, choose, because it's just such a perfectly told Batman Joker story that has ever been told. It's dark, it's twisted, you feel sympathetic for the Joker at times, you feel disgusted by the Joker at times. It is a perfect dynamic of the whole Batman-Joker rivalry, camaraderie, friendship, if you will. And so I was really looking forward to it, but I was also a little interested in the pick because The Killing Joke, for all of it, is actually a pretty short story. Unlike stuff like Batman Year One or The Dark Knight Returns, those are all trades, like graphic novels. I think The Killing Joke is like, 2, 3 issues? It's not that big of a story. So the fact that they were making a movie out of it seemed to be oh, that's a little strange. I wonder if how they're gonna do it, what they're gonna add in. So when I heard interviews about it, I heard that they were saying how they were going to add more stuff about Batgirl in this movie. And I was like, yes, that is the right thing to do. Because one of the only faults I can say for the original Killing Joke story is it's such an important story for Batgirl and her history. Like, the moment where she gets crippled by the Joker is such a personal moment for her character all throughout the comics afterwards. And yet, she barely has anything to do in the original story. In fact, in the original story, you don't see her as Batgirl once. She just gets shot, and if you didn't know she was Batgirl, I don't even think the story brings it up. So my only feelings with the original story was that it felt a little weird that, such a humongous moment for Batgirl would actually have nothing to do with Batgirl whatsoever. So when I heard they were, going to develop more of a story for her, I was like, yes, good idea, that's good, that's good. That's kind of false advertising what they did. They did not make her more developed in the Killing Joke story. What they did was make a half-hour Batgirl story and tag it in the beginning of this movie. I mean, I'm not going to go into the basic story of The Killing Joke, because if you read the book, then you know what the story is, and if you've seen the movie, you know how this movie goes about it. It's basically just a story where the Joker shoots Batgirl, cripples her, takes photos of her, kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, tries to drive him insane with flashbacks to a possible origin for the Joker. And it's Batman coming to the realization that one of these days, those two are going to either kill each other, or one of them is going to kill the other one. This movie, for the first half hour, has nothing to do with The Killing Joke. Nothing. For the first half hour of this movie that has flippin' Joker on the cover, they do not even mention the Joker's name once. It is just a Batgirl story just because she's the one that gets shot. Look, when I said I wanted more development of Batgirl's character in the Killing Joke story, I meant I wanted her to have more development in the story. I didn't want another story that you just tack on the beginning. This feels like, somebody who wrote a story and they take their work to their editor and they're just like, well, the story's good, but I would like some more development on this character. Can you do some more stuff with this character and develop it? And the guy's like, okay, but instead of changing anything in his story, he just adds on another story to the front of the story. And the story that we got with the Batgirl story that we got in the front of this movie is not very good. It really feels like it was an excuse to get Batgirl to sleep with Batman. What? Look, the only medium where Batgirl and Batman has ever been a thing was in Batman the Animated Series. But it was different. For one thing, when they showed that Batgirl had a crush on Batman, they made sure that they said it was a crush, not something she was actually pursuing as an actual relationship. And when they said that they actually did date later on in Batman Beyond, they kind of made it clear that that was when she was a mature enough adult that, you know, she and Bruce, you know, they were fighting crime together, they were both mature adults together, and they eventually found their way to date. This movie, Batgirl still feels too young, and it's like, she has this sort of, like, I don't want to say stalker, but she has this, like, obsession with Batman. But you can tell it's not actual affection, it's obsession. And what does her sleeping with Batman have anything to do with their story? Nothing! Nothing! The whole half hour of this film is her trying to get this guy called Paris France. Or France. Whatever. It was stupid. And she keeps on running into him, and he keeps on getting away, running into him, gets away, then she finally beats him down, and then she quits being Batgirl. And none of that has anything to do with the Killing Joke. None of it plays into the story. Honestly, you could fast forward the first half hour of this movie and start it there, and that's where the movie would be The Killing Joke. The first half hour of this movie has absolutely nothing to do with the story at large. It doesn't affect any of the characters. It doesn't have any bearing on the story at all. It is, honestly, one of the most pointless things I've ever seen in any of these animated movies. I wish I could say that was the only problem this film has, and I didn't know what it was, because there was something off about the voice acting. You know, when, you know, Batman's saying, "Where is he?" It didn't feel like he was actually like, "Where is he?" Like, "Where is he? Where'd he go?" You know, it felt like someone more frustrated, like, "Oh, where's the Joker? He owes me $5. Not, "Where is he? You have any idea what you let that monster on this?" You know, it didn't feel like he was actually enraged. And I didn't know what was the biggest difference between, like, the voice actor, because it's still Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, and they're still, you know, great voice actors. Like, they're still the best of the best out of anyone who's ever played the characters. It's just, it was weird that I didn't like them. And it's not like, and I thought, well, maybe they've kind of lost touch with the characters after a time. And I'm like, no, that can't be it, because, you know, I was replaying Arkham Knight, and despite the story problems that one has, all the voice acting is still great throughout the game. So I didn't know what it was until I got to the end credits, and I realized Andrea Romano is not the voice director for this film. The guy that, I don't even know his name, who they got to replace, just as soon as I saw it wasn't Andrea Romano, I'm like, that makes so much sense. Whoever they got did not do a good job with these actors. They did not get the right tone that these, and inflection that these actors needed to portray to make these characters feel like the characters to us. It felt so awkward to see Mark Hamill doing Joker stuff, and for me to not feel it like it was the Joker. It felt so awkward to see Kevin Conroy saying Batman stuff that should sound good, and yet for some reason in my mind I'm feeling that it's off. The voice direction in this film is not good at all. And the writing for the first half gives, as I say, for the second half is still most of the stuff from The Killing Joke, so it's okay. But for the first half, it feels like just a pointless episode of Batman the Animated Series, you know, one you wouldn't remember. No, not Batman the Animated Series, I don't know. It's just, it's so pointless. I can't harp on that enough, how the first half hour of this film is all pointless to the story. Have you ever seen that in a movie? Where, like, a movie has a good half chunk of the movie does not affect any of the characters in the movie at all? It really... Next time, if I ever watch this movie again, I am fast-forwarding all the Batgirl, Bruce stuff, because it's stupid, it doesn't work, it doesn't feel like the characters, and it has absolutely nothing to do with The Killing Joke. I wanted them to develop these characters more. I wanted to see, you know, there's that moment in the trailer where, you know, that I saw where Batman's like, "This is still a game to you." I wanted that. I wanted to see where, you know, where Batgirl is treating this like a game, and Bruce is saying that it's gonna lead somewhere bad, and she's just blowing him off, and then eventually when Joker shoots her, I wanted to feel her pain and her realizing where she was going wrong. I wanted more of Commissioner Gordon, because he has this whole thing, and one of the things that in the original story, when he says to Batman, "I want it done by the book," you know, I want him to be brought in safely and alive. I wanted that to be like, you know, it was like, I wanted to say, okay, I want more development on Commissioner Gordon. I want him to have a larger part. You know, the two characters who they need to develop more, have a bigger role in the story was Commissioner Gordon and Batgirl. I wanted more development of that. I wanted to feel them better, but I don't. Honestly, before the moment where Barbara gets shot, before that moment, Harvey Bullock has more lines than Commissioner Gordon in this film. Why? The animation is actually okay. I thought it was going to be bad because from the trailers, for some reason it was off-putting to me. But actually, in the end, I think it was good. It was good animation. It doesn't feel right off the page from the original, but those colors are so vibrant, and you just can't do that. You know, but there were some moments they could have done a little bit better to make it look like the comics. The Killing Joke starts in the comic. It starts in such a... It's like a really intense scene. It's like mostly silence. Nothing is really explained, and then Batman just starts talking about, we're going to kill each other. Maybe you'll kill me. Maybe I'll kill you. But I want to know that I made an attempt to actually reach out to you and to stop. And that's where it's, you know, it starts from there, and then you realize it's not really the Joker in the cell, and it just keeps on building. The story just keeps on building. Here, it just meanders around for a good half hour, and then it gets to that. But you can't restart your film. It's just like, I wanted to see it, and I wanted to feel like, you know, like I wanted the tension to start. You know, you gotta start there. But when you don't, you have this whole half-hour thing that has absolutely nothing to do with the characters, has nothing to do with building them up, sets up nothing for the original story, and doesn't even name the main... this is almost more... The Killing Joke is almost more of a Joker story than a Batman story. Like, it's been a little bit since I've read it, but I'm pretty sure Joker has much more to do in The Killing Joke than Batman does. The fact that he's not even mentioned or brought up, or isn't even a factor in the first half hour of a film about the Joker, it's so off-putting, and it's just like, it's dumb. Why would you do that? I am really disappointed in this movie. I wanted to see The Killing Joke brought to animation, but it just kept on failing over and over and over. I mean, some of the visuals are nice. The visuals and the animations are actually pretty good. And sometimes, even though the voice direction is awful, sometimes Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy still get to say a line from the book that really feels like it hits home. The ending, the way, you know, they laugh is handled well, except I think Kevin Conroy laughing could have had a better take. It sounds like he's doing an impression of Batman laughing. Ha 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 ha. Not like it's an actual laugh from Batman. At least his version of Batman. Look, if you want me to say how they could have made this movie better, I think they had to be less afraid. You know, they handled this with kid gloves. You know, they didn't want to damage anything. They didn't want to wreck anything of the original story, so they didn't touch any of it. They didn't want to change any of it. So what we do instead is we just add something else on top of it. But you get like a half hour of stuff that you don't want to see before you even get to the stuff you do want to see. And by the time you get there, you're just so pissed off that you had to wait through all this other stuff that you're not ready to enjoy it. And I don't think the voice direction is that good, so I don't think it's... I don't think I would have... Like, if this movie had cut off the first half hour of the movie of all that pointless crap and just been its own... I probably would be like, oh, well, I'm not great on the voice acting. But you know what? I probably would have still enjoyed it. I probably would have still... You know what? It's not the most perfect copy, but I think it's good. I think I like it. But on the other hand, it's just half of it's pointless. And the other half, I'm distracted by the voice acting not being at the level I'm expecting it. I did not like this at all. Okay, I shouldn't say at all. There were moments to bring the moments that I wanted to see brought to life. But can you tell me what Batgirl sleeping with Batman adds to the story of Batman and the Joker in The Killing Joke? Can you tell me what this mob boss, Paris, France, adds to The Killing Joke? Can you tell me what the first half hour of this film adds to The Killing Joke? It doesn't. All it does is take away. And That pisses me off. But in the end, I just probably won't watch this movie a whole lot. I can go back and read the comic book, and that's what I'm probably going to do if I can find it up there. This isn't a good adaptation of the story, because they were trying to make sure that they didn't touch this so much that they ruined it by just shoving something else in front of it. You know, there were elements of that story that could have been developed. You know, you could have developed Batgirl and Commissioner Gordon's relationship more, Batgirl and Batman's relationship as, you know, relate everything. You gotta relate everything to the main story. If it doesn't connect, then it's pointless. You know? Like, Batgirl being rambunctious and, treating it, the crime fighting like a game, that can be relayed back to the main story of the Joker. It could have, but they didn't do it. Commissioner Gordon holding on to his values and how he views the world, that could have been factored into the story. Stuff like that could have been factored in. Batgirl having sex with Batman doesn't factor anything in. The whole thing with this other Modbot doesn't factor anything in. Harvey Bullock didn't need to be in this story. It didn't factor anything into the story. This is a bad adaptation. I hope Alan Moore never sees this, because if he didn't like Watchmen, he's not going to like this. Yeah, that's about everything I have to say. So I'm giving the animated version of The Killing Joke a 4 out of 10. This is a below average movie. It's not that good. It's just, I mean, none of it works for me. The first half has nothing to do with The Killing Joke, and the second half that does have The Killing Joke is bogged down by the first half, and I don't think the voice direction and the characters sound as good as, and say their stuff as good. It doesn't, I wasn't like, oh, they said that. I was like, oh, that's a little weird way to say that. You know, it didn't work for me. This movie didn't work for me. Maybe, I think next time I'm going to give it some time, of course, before I see it again. But I'm giving myself some space from this, and next time I see it, I'm going to fast forward and start right where Batman finds those other bodies. You know, because everything beyond that, maybe if I watch it on its own, I'll enjoy it. But as a whole, it doesn't work. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. Adios.
Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.